Right, well with us I have a group that I know very little about. I have heard your albums, but we know nothing about you whatsoever, and I'm sure many people in Australia feel the same. Rob and Glenn from Judas Priest, welcome to Countdown.
Nice to be here.
Now Rob, if you could just explain about the group, just tell us a little about this group.
Well, the group itself formed about 5 or 6 years ago on a semi-pro basis at that time. But over the past few years, until we recorded our first album on the Gull record label, that was when we became professional. Right. And we've moved on since then.
Now, your music is sort of, it's very hard to categorise your music, because on your albums, and especially the latest one, it's there's a lot of different moods.
I think that's fair to say. We feel that although you can basically categorise our music as being rock music as such, we tried to steer away from a particular stamp, as it were, you know, trying to incorporate all the varieties of rock that we possibly can, and hopefully we feel that we've maintained what you would call a Judas Priest sound, as it were.
Now, on the latest album, Roger Glover had a lot to do with it, or had a lot of involvement with it. Glenn, I mean, like, are you, as a group, have you been followers of Deep Purple or what?
Well, in the early days, yeah, you know. I mean, I think everybody when they start in a band has influences, and Deep Purple, I think they were an early influence on me, you know, but not recently, you know. We just got together with Roger. It was just one of those things as a producer. We work really well. Yeah. We're at the moment just doing our next album with a guy called Dave Mackay.
Dave Mackay, he's actually...
Dave Mackay.
Mackay. We don't know who's Mackay.
Dennis Mackay.
Oh, it's Dennis, sorry.
Dennis Mackay.
Dennis Mackay.
Now, with your music, like, are you... you must spend an awful lot of time in the studios putting down an album.
Well, surprisingly enough, I don't think it is that way, actually. And I mean, we're trying to get this album done in, what is it, 4 weeks, probably. But there's a lot of work goes into it before then, you see. We prefer to, when we finish touring or whatever, just sit down with songs and, you know, completely run through them, then do what we usually do, which is a demo album, before we actually go into the studio. So I suppose in the long run, from the start of a project, yes, I suppose it does take quite a few months, but studio time is, what, 4 weeks?
We never know when an album's going to materialise. The last album we started to write in America when we were over there, and we were supposed to record it when we came, but what we decided to do was try and get 2 albums together, and we want to start to work in the new year and then not stop again. With release one album and then have one in the can ready to release. You know, you find you lose momentum. You de-gear from. I mean, we're a very hard-working band. You know, we never stop working. If you get on the road, you sort of get into top gear and you get into touring, and if you have to de-gear to do an album, you know, you lose your momentum.
Where do your influences come from? I mean, like, have you been influenced by a lot of American music or what?
Not really.
I wouldn't say so. No, I think in general we can what we feel as being complete musicians. We like all styles of music. Obviously, we admire certain people, but the general, I suppose, the general influx of music around us. And what we can do ourselves, it comes out, as I say, as a Judas Priest sound.
As a band, we're all influenced by, you know, many people, and it seems to channel out as Judas Priest, which is good. You know, we feel we've got our own identity. Our music's just, I mean, if you could sort of define it, it's a sort of struggle between good and evil. Right. And if you've heard the music, you know that there's very loud passages, very very powerful, and then very subtle passages. You know. We don't intentionally write like that, but that seems to be the way it comes out.
That's the way it works,
But I mean, in some passages, when you're talking about, like, there is the softer moments, and it's almost symphonic. But when you suddenly get into that energy side of things, I mean, it's almost like, in one sense, you get almost a feeling that there's 2 different groups playing. You know, do you know what I mean? I mean, it could almost be sort of like the feeling, you know, like sort of this aggressive sort of feeling. And then suddenly it all does become symphonic. I mean,
we feel.
Have you always been like that? I mean, as far as the group structures?
I think so. Yes. It's certainly not a contrived thing by any means. It's just, as Glenn says, the way we are as 5 musicians. It comes out that way, you know.
I think it's if people go and see a loud rock band, you know, it's nice to have subtle passages, and then the dynamics of when you come in and you're very powerful again, they're sort of they stand out, you know.
And can I ask, I mean, like, did you approach Roger Glover, or did Roger approach you?
It was a sort of mutual thing. Roger Glover was recommended as a producer by CBS, and at the time we were rehearsing in Pinewood Studios in Shepparton, so Roger came down, and which we like to do with producers, we sat down and we had a good talk, and we decided Roger was right for the album. The only reason he's not doing the album we're doing now is because it was just such short notice, you know, that he's already booked up to do other things, and we couldn't do it when Roger wanted to, but we should probably get together on the next one we do, you know. Very likely.
Well, thanks very much for coming on the show, and I hope one day you'll be able to fit Australia into your touring.
We'd certainly like to go to Australia, definitely, yes.
Well, thanks very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.